Greetings, everyone. I just decided to go live because I've tried to do this 5 times and it will not allow me. Something keeps happening. So, first, I want to start off by saying um, strong care and consideration for Chief Nanya Shabu El and Sa Aset Taweret of the Asakata Nation of Yamasee Moors for assisting me with my SF 181 and the indigenous standing process. I've had a lot of people ask me what's going on, what do I do? So, how you doing, Abigadur? What I'm going to do is show you this first, how to help you claim your indigenous standing process. So, you would send an email to asakataym@gmail.com and request to be added to the webinar. Everyone has to go through the indigenous standing process webinar on their own. I cannot help you, but I can absolutely share my experience with you. And so here we go. Again, I tried doing this like literally 4 or 5 times and it kept kicking me out. So I said, forget it. I'm going to go live. The first thing that I did is I went to Google and I looked up the SF-181. And as you can see, this is not new information. We have 61,900,000 people who have searched for this form and have knowledge of this form. Unfortunately, the people who really need this, they really don't know that it exists, or they are not looking, or they're not taking it serious. And we absolutely need to take this serious, especially if you're classifying yourself. I'm a melanated female. My name is Ma'at Ray Ilmakitu. And if you're melanated, you absolutely want to pay attention to this because black has no standing at law anywhere on the planet. This is what the SF-181 looks like. It's pretty standard, right? That's what it looks like. It asks you for your name. Hey, cousin, I know you've been wondering. So here you go. It's, you have your name, social, birth date, all that good stuff. But it gets really good for me as a melanated female down here when it goes into the racial categories, okay? So once you look at the racial categories, you have American Indian or Alaska Native, Asian, Black or African American, Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander, and white. First and foremost, again, black has no standing at law anywhere on the planet. But it gets really interesting. Abigadur, white power. Yes. It gets very interesting when you look at the definitions across from the categories because everyone else in these categories have something in common except for one group. So I'm just going to go adjacent and let's figure this out together. So the first group, a person having origins in any of the original peoples of North and South America, including Central America, and who maintains tribal affiliation or community attachment. The second one, a person having origins in any of the original peoples of the Far East, Southeast Asia of the Indian subcontinent, including, for example, Cambodia, China, India, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Pakistan, the Philippine Islands, Thailand, and Vietnam. Third one, a person having origins in any of the original black racial groups of Africa. The next one, a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Hawaii, Guam, Samoa, or other Pacific Islands. The final one, a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa. Did anyone else notice something that I did when I saw this for the first time? Let's go over here. Why is it that black or African American is the only one that says a person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa? There are no black racial groups of Africa. 0. Black has no standing at law anywhere on the planet. So why is that one category not considered an original people? Interesting, okay? Let's get this straight. If we are having to fill out a form just to identify our race and ethnicity, why do we need this real personal information, your social security number, your birth date? One of my indigenous relations also pointed out that the social security number is requested under the authority of executive order, which requires social to be used for the purposes of uniform, orderly administration of personal records, providing this information is voluntary, and failure to do so will have no effect on your employment status. But If the social is not provided, however, other agency sources may be used to obtain it. So why Abigadur, Abigadur, Abigadur? Why is it that this is so necessary to self-identify who you are? For those who have melanin in their skin, it is very important. For those who are being misclassified, it is very important because we literally have a timeline through sometime in 2020. I want to say October 2020. Abigadur, and we have to get this corrected, or you will forever be considered chattel property of the United States corporation. It is a corporation. Anywho, why is this important to me? It's important to me because as I was going through the indigenous standing process, I'll put the information back up so you can see it. As I was going through the indigenous standing process, one of the things that we must do is, or we are encouraged to do, is talk to your family. And I was amazed when I began talking to my family how much Native American I had in my genealogy. All the way going back to my great-grandmother on my mom's side. My great-grandmother is full Indian Native American. She is Native American, and so is my great-grandfather on my mother's side, on my dad's side. And I spoke with my grandmother on my dad's side and my uncle on my dad's side, and they both said the same thing, Choctaw Indian. So I've uncovered that we have Choctaw, we have Apache, and we have Cherokee. So, and this is something that is very important to me too, because I'm old enough to know when they began classifying us. On my birth certificate, I should have pulled it out. On my birth certificate, it says that I'm Negro. Later on in life, we started classifying ourselves from Negro as to Black. I came across some information through the indigenous standing process where they were telling us that they were going to be classifying another group to include African Americans and other people as MENA. What the heck is a MENA? Thanks to the Asakata Nation chief and Saw, they quickly shut that down. It was like, no. And that's why we don't see that classification here, because they know better. But because we don't know any better, or those who don't know where to look, or those who have not been made aware of what's going on with this SF-181 and how important it is, you're left in the dark. When I came across the information, it hurt me. How you doing, Cherokee? it was a bittersweet feeling. But to know that if you want to be totally free, I mean totally free, exactly. If you want to be totally free, you can't play with this thing. So my experience with the SF-181 is it felt like total freedom. It felt like I got a lot of questions answered about, why certain things were not fair. If you look at what's happening to Blacks and African Americans, exactly. That's why I went live. Blacks and African Americans do not have the same, they just don't have standing at law, period, point blank, period. I want you guys to know that this is not an option if you're still classifying yourself as Black or African American, because if you look at some of these stars, let's see, I don't even want to mention some of their names, but look at OJ, look at a couple of other people. How can you get to a place where you've gotten so successful, and then when it seems like you get to a certain point, they want to chop you down? Black has no standing at law. You see all of these people, getting hurt, getting killed, getting locked up, and we know that there's a lot of injustice. But you know why? Black has no standing at law. On this form, and this is a government form, they don't even classify them as original people. So what are they? I'll tell you what they are. They are classified as chattel property. And it will be that way until you decide to take the SF-181 process seriously. The indigenous standing process you must go through, Chief Nanya Shabu-El. And it is not an option. It is not an option. I feel a sense of freedom. I feel a sense of, I know what's part of my history and what is not. I have never identified with a lot of things that people consider Black. I couldn't understand why, but now I do. I want you to know that I'm thankful to Chief, to Sa of the Asakata Nation of Yamasee Moors. I'm thankful for my indigenous relations, and I urge you, if you're listening to this and you are resonating with this in your inside of you, in your spirit, and you know that something is wrong, do not delay. You have the information right there. I absolutely would love to see many, many more people go through their Indigenous standing process. We are on a timetable. So that's my experience with the SF 181. Everyone have a great day. Abby Gadur, Abby Gadur, Abby Gadur. White power, white power, white power.